Because you never, I mean, you would never go up to someone and be like, yeah, you talk a good game, what's your TOEIC score? Would you go to ask a child and say that? Like, would you say that?
you talk a good game, but how's your English score, lady?
You'd never say that.
Yeah, seriously. No, let's do that next time. Let's do that. Next time we find a Japanese
Let's talk to you, like, what's your TOEIC score?
I don't believe you're fluent, but I lived in the U.S. for 8 years and I'm speaking to you in English right now. What's your TOEFL score? What's your TOEIC score? What school did you go to? You know.
It's really.
Well, that's the same thing. Like, you didn't need like JLPT anywhere you went. Sony want JLPT.
No.
They're like, hey, cats, we know you wrote this, this whole letter to us and you talked to us in Japanese, but what's this foreign test score that we don't know?
They don't even know. Actually, most Japanese people don't know what it is. That's why I'm telling you. Like, I'm serious. Like, do you know how okay, this is a really mean example, but you know, like during like the Holocaust, like in the concentration camps, they would get some Jews to like be like foreman type thing.
Yeah, like informing and stuff.
Yeah, and I think they call them kapos or something. And they were like the meanest to the other Jews because kind of like they were in between, you know. But it's kind of like the meanest people. Okay, this is a terrible example. Anyway, the meanest people, the people who are going to be meanest to you about your Japanese are going to be other gaijin, not Japanese people.
Yeah.
Like, gaijin care about JLPT.
Gaijin care about
and
JLPT.
especially gaijin who took the JLPT because they took it.
Yeah, because they're like, hey, I went out of my way, I put in a reservation.
So like they really care about the JLPT, and they'll be gaijin will tell you talk a good game, but what's your JLPT score? And the same thing with Japanese people. Japanese people will be like, because I think
Japanese people don't even know what the JLPT is.
They don't know what it is, but Japanese people to other Japanese people about English, they'll be like, you can say you talk English, what's your TOEIC score? We care about the numbers, we're real. Yeah. So they think they're being real.
But Japan's like superficial society, man. All they care about is class and numbers and ranking and shit, though.
Exactly, so like they, ASK was telling me what it is though is like those other people, they have no way of telling how good they are at English, so they go by this. And that's what the scam is. It's this piece of paper that doesn't actually mean anything more than you knew how to take the test.
You knew how to take the test and stuff. Yeah, well, no, that's the thing. Like, I love like the teacher at one of my schools. She got like a high TOEIC, but she couldn't talk like my English. I'll admit, like my English isn't that good, my English has deteriorated since I've been in Japan because it's basic English now. But I mean, like, I'm taking video, so enjoy. And it's like, so, I mean, that's the thing. Like, my English has deteriorated to like shitty English because I've been in Japan so long, and they want me to speak basic English the whole time. So I loved it, like when I would speak to like my Filipino kids and stuff, and be like speaking like super fast, fluent English, and then like the teacher would be like not be able to pick up on it.
Yeah.
She's like, But I studied English for 4 years, and I'm like, yeah, but you've been speaking only basic English, and it's turned into your job instead of your hobby now.
That's true, and like that's what happens with with people who take the JLPT. They get really bitter because they're like, they get really bitter.
Yeah.
Like that's and people who went to school and thought the school would teach them.
Yeah.
And they end up not teaching them, but instead of they don't turn on the school ever. On the JLPT, they turn on like the language. They're like, Chinese people have a messed up language, and they're trying to make it so we don't know it. Like, they have these conspiracy theories.
No, that's the thing. Like, I remember when I was when I like studied Japanese in high school for like a little bit, and it's like when I came to Japan for the first time, I was like, I kept trying to make their Japanese fit to what I learned in the textbook, and I was like, why doesn't it sound like no? You say must, no ru, must. It was just like, yeah, dude.
That is funny, trying to make it fit. No, because that happens. I think all my Japanese friends who went to school, who learned English in school, they love it when I do the announcer voice.
The announcer voice.
It's a flat Midwestern accent. Hi. Hello, Brian. Can I help you today? Like, they love that.
Could you please pass the non-dairy creamer? I know. I'll use my credit card.
No, they dig it. Well, I mean, that's what's gonna happen. That's what people have been exposed to.
Yeah,
I know. And oh my gosh, no, it's scary. You'll find like that with foreigners too. They'll be like, "You're not talking right." They're like, they'll say, sometimes they say it to native speakers, or they'll say it to like foreigners who talk like native speakers. but let's say like foreigners who talk in a textbook, they'll be like, "You're not talking right." They'll say that to you. You're not supposed
foreigners
to say that.
or Japanese
Foreigners
people?
too will say like, let's say you're a guy who's speaking Japanese, right?
Yeah.
Then there's who imitates Japanese people.
Yeah.
Then there's a gaijin who speaks Japanese who imitates textbooks.
Yeah.
Like he'll tell the native sounding person that they're doing it wrong.
When have you encountered this person?
I've had that before. Like for example, like in slang, you can say there's desho, right? You can just say desho with like sho, and you also write it without the u at the end. Right? Yeah. But like I remember having people like correct me like desho is supposed to have a u on the end. It's like, yeah, I know, but it's like saying like
well, just like how they say like I don't know, darika no ichide, and they're like
yeah. But it's like say yes. That's like it's like the difference between saying won't and will not. Okay? Like everything's fine, but they don't. No,
that's gaijin, like grammar Nazis, gaijin.
Yeah, but it's just pretty funny. It's like, you think I don't know? Like the show has a U on the end. Like there's a reason why. Yeah. It's like spelling dude with an EW. Yeah. Instead of dude has a UD. Yeah.
How dare you? No, I remember like one of the teachers at my school one time. And like Pat had this problem too. It's like they corrected. They're like, "No, speak like this," and I'm like, "Dude, I'm speaking in a natural accent. Which one do you want, that or the textbook?" They're like, "Well, the test is based on the textbook, not on your speech. So let's do the textbook."
It is kind of interesting. Like I'm not like that used to. I remember that used to tick me off. Like if I were there, I'd get so upset. But because I'm not there, it's like, that's interesting. Like they live in a world of BS. But like I'm not in it, so I don't. It's like I've grown really mellow. I think from before. I was like, you people are full of crap.
No, but sometimes like you're like really passive aggressive. So I can totally see you. I can totally see you being like, okay, we'll do that, but you're full of shit. And by the way, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, everyone, hey, let's start class. Teacher's fucking retard, but hey, let's go!
That might happen. That's
okay, did you go to the mall today, Mrs. fucking retard who doesn't know what she's talking about? You know. No, I don't know, but... And like, dude, I've gotten so many like people commenting on our racism in Japan video. They're like, those foreigners are too easygoing. How dare they how dare they take racism so lightly in Japan?
Don't they know? People like want you to be upset about it, but like I'm not even saying like that's something people shouldn't be concerned about. I'm saying like the order is completely wrong. Yeah. It's kind of like that. Pretty much like, okay, this is a really bad example, but like it's kind of like they're in like the toilet and they're covered in crap, and they're like, I don't like the color of that light. I want to use I want to use let's use a green light in here. Like that doesn't.
Really it doesn't matter. You're covered in crap.
If you don't, because if those people are in the country and they don't know the language, they're full of crap still. They're like.
Well, yeah, no, exactly. So, like most of the people commenting on there were like Japanese, like right wing, like hate gaijin people. And that's a little bit. And then the rest are foreigners who don't even live in Japan. It's like, in Africa, they kill you, in some places they kill you if you're just from, like, a different tribe. Or in America, like, you go to some places, like, on color, you get beat up by gangs or whatever, And it's like, in, like, Japan, oh, great. I couldn't go into this one apartment that I had to pay extra to get into anyway, It's like...
But it's not... I think...
No, but I think I'd be racist, too, though, if I was a Fudo-san here, to be honest.
Because people can just leave anytime.
Well, yeah, there's so many people that can leave anytime, but also the language thing, dude.
Language thing. Also, the law is the thing about Japanese law is it favors tenants.
Yeah, so they can stay up to 6 months without paying.
They can't kick you out.
Yeah, they can't kick you out.
So they're like, they need to know that this is for show. Yeah.
No, I mean, like, I do that too, but it's just like, if I have a tenant, I want to be able to communicate with them. Like, I was, like, my pipe broke.
Right? By the way, be able to communicate with them. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, my pipe broke when I was moving my washing machine, and I flooded the downstairs neighbors, all of them. Yeah. But since I the downstairs neighbors are, like, Chinese, and they don't speak any English or Japanese, and so I called up the Suido company, and, like, I'm smart, so I just go outside and turn off the valve, and fix the water from flowing. But I called them, I was like, yeah, the other floor's, like, still dripping and shit. You might want to come here and, like, look at this. And the Chinese neighbors was like, oh, it's just our Sherman, just, what's up? Oh, sexy hair. Nice. Oh, wig, but it's like, so then she's just like, no, but then, like, the guy from the company came and he's like, hey, so, like, so he's just like, hey, well, like, thank God you speak Japanese. I was like, I don't speak Japanese, dude. He was like, whoa. I was like, you can speak sentences and, like, communicate with me. That's more than what your downstairs neighbors can do. So,
it makes a difference. And like, that's the other thing. That's the other problem is what takes me off more than anything isn't even that they don't know the language. They're not citizens, Sam.
Yeah.
They're not citizens. I can do so much. I haven't told people much, but I can do so much more in Japan as a non-citizen than I could in the US.
Yeah.
The US, if you don't have citizenship or permanent residency.
Like what? What couldn't you do here that you can't do there?
You can't do anything in the US. First of all, you can't get a job without begging the government for it.
Can't you get like a green card or something?
Yeah, without a green card, you can't get.
But didn't you get one anyway?
No, I didn't know. So
you have to apply for one.
You have to apply for one. Yeah, it sucks. Like and it's like, and they're always like, "Oh, you're one of those people who wants to come into our country. Screw you." And like, you have to like, there are all these weird forms you have to, not just forms you have to fill in. You have to go through this process, and like, everything takes like 6 months to process.
Yeah.
And okay, I'm talking about if you're not a permanent resident, right?
Yeah.
If you're not a permanent resident, you have to get work permission, and then your work permission is tied to the company you're at. So they own you in the U.S. Like the company owns your box.
So if you get fired, you have to get out of the U.S. kind of thing,
or get a job like really quickly. So you get like, so you don't even have to, even let's say you even have savings, like you don't have time maybe like those people don't have time to think about it maybe, you know.
Also, it's like Korea, pretty much.
Yeah, it's like
Korea, you're tied to your company too.
Yeah, it's really. And in Japan, you're not tied to your company. Yeah. You can do anything except like work in a bar because they don't want you hang out with shady people, right? Yeah. Even if you don't have like they basically there's so, and you can get health insurance, so you can't get any insurance in the US.
Yeah, insurance sucks.
And like your social security cards for people who don't have permanent residencies have like this person cannot work without special authorization and all this stuff. It's like it's really like you can't do anything. Like you can't apply. There's all this stuff you can't apply for. Of course, you can't get financial aid or discrimination. I'm a good student. Like, doesn't matter.
Oh, good aid's too bad. Not U.S. citizen, huh?
So, there are all these scholarships you can't apply for. There are all these, so that's just what goes with not being a citizen. So it's not even about being a foreigner. It's about not being a citizen.
Yeah.
Who wants people? And that's why people can say anything they want about Devito, but he is a citizen.
Yeah. So
like Devito can say whatever the heck he wants. He's a citizen. But you know what? Yeah. Those haters. Let's say those Russian guys who did get kicked out, who caused the drunk Russian fishermen, I think, the sailors. Whatever, who caused like them to put that sign up there. Yeah. Okay, maybe the sign is bad, but like those fishermen don't even have a right to be in Japan. If the Japanese government says, and to all of us here who aren't citizens, right? If the Japanese government says tomorrow, if they send an email saying, by the way, leave tomorrow, we have to go. Like that's we don't have a right to be here. They gave us permission to be here because they felt like it. Because they're like, hey, you seem like a nice guy. You can come in and stay for a bit. But like so.
And that Perry asserts American dominance on them too.
But Devito's a citizen, you know. He belongs here now.
Yeah.
Devito is Japanese, so like that's it's completely different.
Yeah. Well, you notice that most of the people giving the opinions on there don't even live in Japan.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, you know, that is what's pretty funny. It's like, who are you people? And they've never been. And so it's really upsetting because they make up all these stories, and then you know what happens is like what's interesting is like. You know, like black people read these stories, and then they're like, and then they'll send you an email saying like, how will people see me then? Yeah, how will like me?
Yeah, you remember that, huh?
It's so sad because I think like, because it's really sad because it's like, what is it?
Because it gives them a false sense
a false sense of like what Japan is like.
Yeah,
and it's just like all based on the blogs and YouTube comments of some fool who's either never been there or went there and never learned the language and like didn't actually even talk to anyone except his manager. Just even think of like, let's say you're a teacher, who doesn't really know English but had a high TOEIC score. I mean, think of like the kind of person she is. Like, say like all teachers are, but think of like the kind of women that become school teachers. They usually like. Oh my gosh, this is so sexist. Oh my gosh. But like,
it's okay. We're misogynist here.
The kind of people who become school teachers, not just women, like sometimes like to like have authority over people. You know.
Well, yeah,
they enjoy it. They're nice teachers, but there are a lot of teachers who don't like. Oh yeah. They like.
Teachers come in all shapes and flavors.
Yeah, and a lot of these people like to tell people what the correct way to do things is. Often like they've seen the society. They don't like people their age either. So they're like, oh, I'm gonna go change the kids. I'm gonna go to source and like I'm gonna change the next generation. And they have, they'll be the kind of people who will tell you like that's not how you, that's not real Japanese. Like if a young person talks like a normal young person, like, that's bad Japanese.
Yeah,
you need to save this. And
remember you told me about that woman who lived in the U.S. or something that like or the woman that lived here that was married to a foreigner or something, and she saw your website because her husband was using it or something. She's like, I'm a Japanese teacher, and you can only speak.
My wife's a Japanese teacher, and she says you speak too casually.
Yeah, you know.
You talk bar talk. First of all, like I don't think I've ever like been to a bar properly.
You talk like one of those rapscallions, those little mollusks.
But what's funny is like what's funny is in those cases like she looks down on him too.
Yeah,
she looks down on him is a thing. Actually, no, I really, I don't know, like.
Well, it's like so many people like focus. Well, I mean, but then again, you must love all this attention. I know I do.
Oh yeah.
You wouldn't make a blog unless you liked debating with these people in the first place.
What do I like about them? I like what's in